Hey crew, how's it going? It's Patrick. And I want to thank everybody for getting me over 200 subscribers. We're at like 215 right now. I think you guys have met Trifle. That was Ginger. She's our new rescue. Get down, girl. Get down. And I did an AMA kind of thing for hitting 200, and I don't know if I'm ever going to get the whole thing shot all at once, so I'm just going to kind of go through on those occasions when I have a couple of minutes. I'm going to do one question, and we'll just do this in multiple parts. So the question for this video comes from John Dassa here on YouTube, and he asked me to name my top X and bottom X of each of the various Star Trek RPGs that I have presumably have played, for sure have owned. So I've owned FASA, I've owned Last Unicorn, Decipher, and of course Star Trek Adventures. So I'll just start at the beginning. FASA. The best thing about FASA, my favorite thing about FASA, was how quick and easy it was to get into it, because it was like little 32 to 48 page booklets. There wasn't a lot of exposition and stuff involved in the FASA games. You got lore, but in the early 80s it was kind of expected that if you were playing a role-playing game, you probably knew something about Star Trek, so you didn't have to get just a whole lot of intro material. So it was real quick to get into. The bad part about it for me was that almost, it was very, very crunchy, which, when I was in my late teens and 20s wasn't a big deal, but as the years have rolled by, not nearly the fan that I was. It was also one of those games where it was possible to come up with a character roughly equivalent to the heroes, the on-screen heroes, which at the time was just, original series. So, Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and company. But it was very difficult. It was the iconic characters were made without regard to the actual character generation mechanics. So you could not come up with a captain as cool as Kirk unless you were supremely lucky or you were using some house rules, in my opinion. Last Unicorn. The best part about Last Unicorn was I never got to play it. I owned it. We tried for a while, but I was living in an area where it was hard to find Trek gamers, so I never got to play Last Unicorn. The thing I liked the best about it was the production values on all the books were just beautiful. The covers were gorgeous. The interiors were very well laid out. The thing I didn't like about it was that every series was its own game. You had a Next Generation game, you had a DS9 game, you had a TOS game. Had Last Unicorn held on to the license, you'd have had a Voyager game. And that, to me, seemed a little excessive. always favored the kind of a more sandbox approach, where all Trek kind of coexisted. They had some beautiful supplements, though. I mean, they had a great time travel supplement. Decipher. The best part about Decipher to me was the sandbox approach. It kind of took what happened at Last Unicorn into consideration, and they had a narrator's guide and a player's guide, and it applied to all the eras of the game except Enterprise, which had only just come out when the game started, and by the time they got to a point where they were going to be able to do something substantial with Enterprise, they lost the license because of all the behind the scenes shenanigans. But I liked the character generation because you could mix and match some of the professions, which is also kind of problematic because they were at least classes. You didn't really get levels per se, but X number of advancements, and everybody. And the part I disliked the most about it was it was short-lived, and while the company had a lot of things going on, they treated the fans like second-class citizens. They were very, very responsive to their trading card players, but their role-playing game players kind of got second shrift. And of course you had the behind-the-scenes shenanigans that caused them to lose the license, and before they really got started well with the game. And finally we come to Star Trek Adventures. And it is the most Star Trek game I think I've ever gotten a hold of. I love it to death. My favorite thing about it is that all player characters start off roughly statistically equal. How those are distributed is up to the player. But there's not any real leveling up. There's adjustments and gradual changes. So I really like that. The character generation itself is a lot of fun. I like the life path, although I've started gaining a real appreciation for creation and play over time. Another thing I love about it is the fact that I get to write for it. I never got a chance to. I had tried to get my foot in the door with Decipher, but we all know how that ended up. But I got to get in on the ground floor with Modiphius and Star Trek Adventures. So that's really cool. I can't tell you how cool that is. The thing I like the least is from a gaming standpoint, there's not a whole lot that I don't like about the system. I am not super wild about not knowing what's coming, but that puts me in the same boat as just about everybody else. Contrary to what a lot of people might think is just because we're writers with the game doesn't mean we know what's coming out beyond the stuff that we work on. I have no idea. And I hate not knowing what's coming. Because I'm not a huge fan of surprises. But there you go, John. There's my big thing and my top thing and my bottom thing for all four different systems that I've had over the years. I hope that answers your question. If not, well, you know where the comments is, because that's where you left this question. Live long and prosper, guys. And I will be back later with some more answers for more questions. And catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.